What's up, party people? This is Jude Snowboarder here from Facebook, Jude's Junk Comic Book Shop and YouTube channel. And I always like to report on traps that you might fall into with shipping, invoicing, PayPal goods and services. How can someone rip you off? How can you get liability in the comic book world? Well, today this last few weeks, last month, I've come across the biggest liability for me as a comic book collector to date. There was no way for me to avoid it, and this could happen to anybody out there. Doesn't matter what you use, and I had no idea this was a thing. So there was a guy that calls me up out of the blue from Washington State. He's on Facebook. I'm still friends with him, but now the law is involved and attorneys are involved, so maybe I shouldn't say his name yet, but I want to blast him. So he sends a message to me on Facebook Messenger, and he wants to buy $50 books. $1 DC independent, 90s junk. 50 books for $50. Sure, I got a whole bunch of junk left over, and he wants to send some to his nephew in Washington, and he wants to send some to his uncle or brother or friend in Canada, out of the country. And he's going to use PayPal goods and services. So we do all the talking, we set everything up, and he goes to pay me the $100. And because I tell him, hey, pay me the $100, then I'll go figure out shipping, because $100 is heavy. We'll figure out shipping, and then he can send me the money for shipping separate. And he was going to do it PayPal goods and services, which was fine with me. I didn't expect anything different. But his PayPal goods and services payment got hung up, and it says pending. So if you don't know about that, make sure when you get your payment that it's not sitting in the pending phase. So I kept saying, I'm not shipping your books out until your payment is released. And he's like, I don't know what should be wrong with it, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes he acted drunk. Sometimes he forgot what he was talking about. He was confusing back and forth over a few days. I'm just like starting to get annoyed because it's just taking way too much time for some junk dollar books. But anyways, finally he's like, all right. And he wants me to FedEx these. So $50 worth of books. I believe it was 50 books. Maybe it was $100 worth of books to Canada. And then FedEx it. It's going to be like $70. He wants to go overnight or something stupid. I'm like, whatever, it's your dime. So anyways, we figure out exactly what he's willing to pay with FedEx. There was like a 2-day and then like a 3-day fee, and he went with the 3-day. So anyways, it's like $50 to FedEx this. So we pack everything up and I ship it. But PayPal I don't ship it yet. PayPal goods and services never releases the payment. So I'm like, hey, for one, you didn't release the payment. And two, you want me to ship it to an address other than what's on your PayPal goods and services. So I'm not going to do it. If I shipped it to an address other than what's on PayPal goods and services, then he could just say he never got the books and he'd get his money back. So I said, one, it didn't release. Two, you want me to send some of these books to somebody in Canada. You're going to have to pay Venmo in order for me to get paid, and you not have the ability to do a claim with PayPal goods. So he Venmos me the money. He didn't Venmo me. His brother did. His brother is also named in this lawsuit, which I find out later. So his brother Venmoed me the money. I ship it off to the guy in Canada. Forget all about it. That's April 2024. Here it is, September. Actually, I got the summons in the mail, hand-delivered to me by the Sheriff's Department in August 2024. And they're like, you've been served. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't do anything wrong. I'm just fat and married and old and in the middle of a small town, in the middle of nowhere. And the sheriff's guy is delivering the summons. So I look at it. Apparently, this guy in Canada had $150,000 worth of books ripped off. Now, however the details go, he's suing somebody in Arizona and 5 or 6 other couples that were involved in this deal. He had all these old keys. He was trying to sell it through some kind of third party. And anyways, they ripped him off. They promised that they'd mail some of his books back to him. That's where I got involved. They bought these cheap books from me to give him a fake FedEx number so he wouldn't do anything for a few days. So they were trying to just make him wait a few more days. Oh, no, we're sending these books back to you. So I don't know any of this back in April. So he gets this box of books from me, thinks I'm in on it with them, and names me as a defendant in this lawsuit. Now, this means he spent some money. He had $150,000 worth of big books. He went and spent probably thousands of dollars with the attorney. They deliver the summons to my door, and now I got to deal with it. Even though I did nothing wrong, there was no way to avoid it, because even if I would have done PayPal goods and services, that doesn't stop someone suing you. Remember, anyone can sue you for anything at any time. So something that I've never heard anybody talk about on here. This is a big player, and he's mad that he got ripped off, and he's going for blood, and he's out of the country. So he's hiring an attorney to do everything. So I try to do a response to this summons. It's the Maricopa County Supreme Court of Arizona. So I can't do it in Idaho. I try to get an attorney involved in Idaho. They said, no, you got to hire someone in Arizona. I have friends in Arizona. I used to be from Arizona, but I try to do the response and explain all this on a document, and it gets rejected by the Maricopa Superior County Court. And they said, I spent all day trying to do this this response to this summons, send it in. They said I used the wrong forms. I got the right forms. I sent it again. It got rejected again. And then I found out I'm supposed to be paying $275 for the response fee. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to start getting involved in money. So I reach out to the attorneys that are doing the suing, and I say, this is the situation. I have no involvement. And they never responded. They said, okay, we'll look into it. And I sent them an email with all the details. I even identified the guy in Washington who's buying the books. I even identified his brother, who was the one paying through Venmo, who is named in the lawsuit, but the guy who bought from me is not named. So I gave the attorneys more ammunition to go after these guys that are ripping them off, and they wouldn't get back with me and get me off the hook. And this deadline to respond to the summons was coming. I only get 30 days from the day I was served. If it was in state, I'd only get 20 days, but since I'm out of state, I had 30 days, and it was like 4 days left, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I got to take care of this. So I had gotten some referrals to some attorneys, talked to an attorney, finally got in touch with one. He wants a $2,500 retainer fee. So I got to fill out his forms. I got to send in commit to $2,500 in fees to him. And I just got a call today that I'm off the hook, because obviously I wasn't involved. And if someone pays me for books and sends it to somebody else, there's no proof that I've done anything wrong. And why would I put my name on it if I was in cahoots with these guys? That's silly. Anyways, this guy was naming everybody. He was naming banks. He was naming CBS in this lawsuit. He was going after everybody. He was just pissed. So anyways, I hear today that the attorneys are probably going to want me to give them a deposition, which is a phone call or Zoom. They're probably going to release me so I don't have to respond to the court, and I'll just be removed from the lawsuit. Great. There's still attorney fees involved. I still got to pay this guy $400 an hour for the phone call that he made, for the email that he sent. So I don't know what the end cost is going to be, but I guarantee it's going to be over $1,000, because he had his assistant who gets $200 an hour. He's $400 an hour. A couple phone calls, it's over $1,000. So I just lost out on $1,000 for nothing. I sold stupid books. Yeah, the guy acted like he was drunk and ridiculous and making stupid decisions. Maybe in the future, if somebody's making stupid decisions, I say, this just doesn't feel right, and I back out. And I get it now. You're not completely covered with PayPal goods and services. That doesn't cover you if someone wants to name you in a lawsuit. Somebody who's got to stick up their leg and wants to remember, you can get sued for any reason at any time by anyone. So I could sue you. I don't like how you bought a book. I don't like how you sell a book. You give me your PayPal information. I give you my PayPal information. I send it to you, or you send it to me. Either way, I just name you in a lawsuit. Boom. You're on the hook for $2,500 with an attorney to defend yourself. That surprised me. I don't know what kind of an umbrella policy would only pay out if I lost a lawsuit and I had to pay. It doesn't pay for the attorney fees up front. So this is, I don't know how many of you out there have ever experienced this, but I wanted to make you aware of it, because buying and selling goods, and I don't know if the international thing had any impact, because the guy in Montana could sue me just as much as a guy in Canada. These are cheap books, $50, $51 books. So, anyways, I'm about out of time here. Anyways, something to think about, guys. Hope that helps.